الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد، رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Just an announcement, inshallah. This Friday is going to be our Family Friday night. We are going to have a guest speaker, Brother Umar Uthman. He is with Qalam Institute and also the Muslim Strategic Initiative. The topic of the workshop is going to be the fiqh of social media. This is a very important workshop especially for our children and our teens who are heavily engaged on different social media platforms, and also very important for parents as well to understand the pros and the cons, or what to look for and what not to look for as far as the social media usage is concerned, etiquettes of social media and all of these things. Obviously, it is our potluck as well, so inshallah there's going to be the dinner prior to Maghrib, and the workshop will be from Maghrib till Salat al-Isha. So yesterday I shared with you some issues regarding the Qurbani, aka Udhiyah. Okay, as far as is it just Sunnah? Is it mandatory? Also, as far as, are we allowed to just buy and distribute meat, or do we actually have to sacrifice and offer the animal as a sacrifice? So all of those issues were discussed yesterday. As far as the time of Qurbani is concerned, when can a person do his Udhiyah? So let's say, for example, this coming weekend, let's beat the rush and get our Qurbani out of the way. Right? That way we're in and out. No rush, no lines. Let's get everyone while they're sleeping. Well, the Qurbani can only be performed on the 3 days of Eid. Okay? So as far as the dates go, the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the 11th, and the 12th. Okay? It is only in these days that Qurbani is recognized as an act of worship. If you do your Qurbani on the 9th or on the 13th, it's not a Qurbani, but it's a halal goat or a halal lamb nonetheless. But it's not going to fulfill the requirements of falling under Udhiyah. Okay? Now, no Qurbani is allowed before the Eid prayer. Okay? So if the Eid over here is at 7:30, you can't do Qurbani at, we heard that you can do it on 10th Dhul Hijjah. So go after Fajr, slaughter the animal, come for Eid. Alright, and by the time you go home, you're actually having the meat. Okay, it doesn't work like that. Eid, it has to be done after Eid. However, if a person lives in the vicinity outside a major metropolitan area, okay? Person lives in the boonies, in a village where there is no Eid prayer that is established. Okay? You live name me a city an hour from here where there's no Muslim community. Any city name? Huh? Really? Huh? Fornir. Okay, let's say for example, you live there. Okay, you're not obligated to drive 45 minutes, an hour to Dallas to perform Eid. Okay? You live there, your village, there's no masjid, there's no community. Okay, in that situation, then as soon as a person has prayed Fajr, go ahead and do your Qurbani, because you're not praying Eid at that point. But whoever intends to pray Salatul Eid, lives in a city where Eid is established, you have to wait until Eid is over. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man dhabaha qabla salati fa innama dhabaha li nafsi, wa man dhabaha ba'da salati faqad tamma nusuka wa asaba sunnat al-muslimin." Whoever does it before the prayer, then he has basically slaughtered an animal for his consumption. And whoever does it after the prayer, he has fulfilled the nusuk and the rites of sacrifice, and he has completed the sunnah of the Muslimin. The Prophet ﷺ has said in another narration that whoever does it before the prayer, فَإِنَّهُ هُوَ لَحْمٌ قَدَّمَهُ لِأَهْلِ, he just basically bought meat for his family. Okay? So it doesn't mean that the meat is not halal or anything, but it's not udhiyah, it's just meat. Jundub ibn Sufyan radiallahu anhu says that I saw the Prophet ﷺ, I was with him on Eid day, and the Prophet ﷺ فَلَمْ يَعُدْ أَنْ صَلَّى وَفَرَغَ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ فَإِذَا هُوَ يَرَى لَحْمَ أَضَاحِي قَدْ ذُبِحَتْ قَبْلَ أَنْ يَفْرُغَ مِنْ صَلَاتِهِ فقال من كان ذبح أضحيته قبل أن يصلي فليذبح مكانها أخرى ومن كان لم يذبح فليذبح بسم الله. The Prophet ﷺ once noticed that as soon as he finished the prayer, there was already animals that were slaughtered, and the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever's done this before the prayer, do another one. And if you haven't, then now you can continue to do it. Okay, now what are the animals of Qurbani? Okay, so there's no chicken for Qurbani. Okay? There's no chicken for Qurbani. Regardless of how much the cows from Chick-fil-A petition eat more chicken, there's no chicken for Qurbani. So what are the animals for Qurbani? Goat. Okay? Whether it's male or female, which is called technically a buck or a doe. They have to be at least 1 year of age. Under 1 year, a goat that is under 1 year is actually called a kid. Okay? So you can't offer a kid for Qurbani. And please get kid means the young goat. Okay? So don't get me wrong over here. I know things are being recorded. Kid meaning a goat less than 1 year of age. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, لا تذبحوا إلا مسنة إلا أن يعصر عليكم فتذبحوا جذعة من الضأن. Sacrifice only a grown-up animal unless it's difficult for you, in which case a sheep of even less than a year but more than 6 months age. So when it comes to goat, it has to be 1 year and above. When it comes to sheep, whether it's a ram or a ewe, okay, a female sheep is called an ewe. They can be at least 6 months of age, and there are ahadith to support that. The difference between a goat and a sheep, obviously what the farmer tells you, but goats have hair and their tail is sticking up. Sheep have wool and or hair, and their tail is sticking down. Now, when it comes to cow, ox, buffalo, they have to be at least 2 years of age. A camel, whether it's male or female, has to be at least 5 years of age. As I mentioned, that it is either one head of goat or sheep will be enough for one person. However, the animals such as cows, ox, buffaloes, and camels, one animal will suffice for how many people? For 7. Thank you very much. MashaAllah, we have a good audience here today. Now, you cannot buy animals off the clearance rack. And what do I mean by that? No defective animals are allowed to be offered as udhiyah. You can slaughter it, but then you'll just have meat. Okay? So it'll be good for a barbecue. But as far as the udhiyah is concerned, defective animals are not allowed. The Prophet ﷺ has said a crippled animal whose limp is obvious cannot be offered as a sacrifice. An animal with bad eyesight, whose blindness is obvious, cannot be offered. Nor a sick animal whose sickness is obvious. Nor an extremely thin animal that has no marrow in its bone. So basically, there are many ahadith in which the Prophet ﷺ specifically mentions. For example, the ears cannot be cut off. Okay? The ears cannot be chipped off. An animal that has no teeth at all, or a major number of its teeth are missing. Okay? Animals that are born without ears. So these animals are not acceptable to fulfill the obligation of udhiyah. Okay? So in other words, there are no pun intended, but there's no cutting corners, all right, when it comes to the udhiyah. We must and have to present the best possible, and the animal in the best possible condition to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes to the udhiyah. Okay? So, it's not like buying a car with a salvage title or a fender bender, dent here and there. No. It has to be in pristine condition. Okay? It has to fall under excellent in the Blue Book value. Okay? Excellent condition. Not poor condition, not fair condition. It must be in excellent condition. And there are many ahadith that support this claim. Now, the sunnah method of qurbani, now you don't actually have to slaughter it yourself. If you don't have the heart to, or whatever the situation may be, then you can have someone slaughter it for you, or maybe you just can't be there. It is preferred that if you are not slaughtering, at least you be there for the actual slaughtering process. Okay? However, you don't have to be there. It's sunnah to lay the animal with its face towards the qibla. It is sunnah to offer that animal some water. It is sunnah to use a sharp knife, not a blunt knife, and it's like, causing so much pain to the animal. It is sunnah not to allow the other animals to see their cousin or whatever being slaughtered. Okay? And it is sunnah to say, is necessary rather to say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. It is sunnah to say, Inni wajjahtu wajhiya lilladhi fatara samawati wal ard hanifa wa ma ana minal mushrikeen. Now, as far as the distribution of the meat is concerned, so if, for example, me and Brother Nafis and Brother Shah and Brother Hassan and Brother Amin and Brother Ali, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you, we're all sharing a cow. How do we distribute? Okay, you get the head, and I get the top sirloin, you get the bones, and you get the skin. Okay? Fuqaha mentioned that people who are sharing an animal, the meat must be distributed equally, strictly weighing by weight. It should be distributed. Okay? And for just to be on the safe side, if people are getting together, at the end, you should just forgive one another. If there is any, if there's any more or less that comes through, okay. And I know, it gets to a point where, if everyone wants some of that brain, you got to cut it 7 ways, okay. So the pie needs to be cut equally in 7 shares. Now, if you open a book of hadith, okay, and you go into Kitab al-Adahi, you will come across narrations that mention the Prophet ﷺ prohibiting the consumption of udhiyah meat after 3 days. Okay? There are a handful of ahadith in which the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يأكل أحد من لحم أضحيتي فوق 3 أيام. You cannot eat that meat for more than 3 days. Many ahadith that you will. So what does this mean? Fire up your barbecues. Okay, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, by Monday there should be no meat. Well, actually, initially the Prophet ﷺ, when the udhiyah was ordained, and by the way, this was made in ordinance, or it's established sunnah, rather in the 2nd year after after Hijrah, there was a famine that struck Medina and the surrounding areas. Okay, and a lot of people who are struck with severe hunger and poverty. So the Prophet ﷺ at that particular time commanded everyone that, you know what, you got your meat, eat it for 3 days. After that, everything has to be distributed. Obviously, there was no chest freezers, so you couldn't store it till the next Eid. Okay, so it needed to be consumed. But there are ahadith that also explain, and Sahaba that actually explain. And the Prophet ﷺ specifically saying, so when the next year came, the Sahaba said, do we need to, obviously you're going to slaughter the goat, but do we need to kill it as well in 3 days? Do we need to eat the whole thing in 3 days? The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا نَهَيْتُكُم مِّنْ أَجْلِ الدَّافَةِ الَّتِي دَفَتْ فَكُلُوا وَادَّخِرُوا وَتَصَدَّقُوا. I mentioned that because of a drought. So now, eat, وَادَّخِرُوا, save it, or freeze it, ziplock it, tasaddaqu, and also give it away. Now, as far as the qurbani meat is concerned, a person is allowed to consume your own udhiyah. This should not be mistaken with, for example, the udhiyah, the animals that are sacrificed in exchange for a certain penalty or infraction in Hajj. You can't eat that meat. Okay? In this, a person, now, you can eat all of it. You can eat all of it. You can give away all of it. Okay? You can give away all of it. Ulama mentioned that it's mustahab to cut that pie into 3 pieces. Consume 1/3 of it, and give 1/3 to relatives, and give 1/3, do not forget the unfortunate and the poor. Now, you cannot sell the meat. Okay? The meat cannot be sold. Okay? So for example, you don't have a restaurant, right? Okay. So for example, you do udhiyah, and now you're using that meat and you're selling biryani. No. Okay? You cannot buy Qurbani biryani. It should not be sold. If they give it to you for free, that's fine. But Qurbani biryani, like after Friday, biryani is being sold. Oh, brother, this is udhiyah meat. No, 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 no. You cannot make a profit off of udhiyah meat. Okay? And neither can it be given to the butcher as part of his wages. So for example, you go to the farm, and or for example, let's say for example, you get your goat, you get bigger pieces, you go to the butcher, and they make it smaller pieces. Oh, that'll be $20. Here's a pound of meat. You can't use that meat to pay the butcher for making it into pieces and whatever for you. Okay? So, for example, if Brother Umar goes and he brings my goat from the farm, oh, here you go. No, I can't do that. All right? I can give it to you as a gift, but you cannot stipulate that. So, this is few of the ahkam as far as the Qurbani is concerned, and inshallah we'll move forward into other issues as the days unfold. Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.